Finish this sentence. Canada will not sell any more weapons to Saudi Arabia, period.
Comedian Hasan Minhaj, host of Patriot Act on Netflix, stunned Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau with some serious questions. Now, this entire episode was surprising for a number of reasons. For one, Hasan Minhaj has 27 minutes dedicated to Canadian politics, which is something you don't often see from an American comedy show. But on top of that, you rarely see an honest critique of Justin Trudeau's job as Prime Minister, especially from American shows and especially from comedians. So the often takeaway from Americans about Canada is, well, look at Justin Trudeau. I mean, we have Trump and they have Trudeau. And it doesn't go much farther than that. I mean, look, I understand Trudeau is not Trump, obviously. But that doesn't mean that Justin Trudeau is free from criticism. And especially somebody who, you know, put himself out there as a progressive, a real feminist, a guy that's really dedicated to climate change and human rights. I mean, looking at his actual record, he did not live up to what he promised and actually has a number of broken promises. But I'm going to show you two clips here from this episode. This first one is incredible. I mean, the way he sets up the question, everything about it is fantastic. It deals with the Saudi arms deal. So check this out.
In the past decade, they have helped armed regimes in Algeria, Nigeria, Egypt, Libya, Iraq, and Bahrain. But one of their biggest customers is Saudi Arabia. So I had to ask Trudeau about the arms deal. But I wanted to be tactful. I mean, I'm in the guy's office. So I had to go in with another game. Finish the sentence. Tim Hortons is...
a Canadian institution.
Nice. Finish the sentence. Kawhi Leonard should...
should be very proud of what he accomplished in his time in Canada.
I completely disagree. Kawhi Leonard should never return to Canada because he is a traitor. That's the correct answer.
You know, people bring American sentiments onto Canadian politeness every now and then.
Finish this sentence. Canada will not sell any more weapons to Saudi Arabia, period. I'm sorry, I messed that one up. Canada will not sell any more weapons to Saudi Arabia, please. It's more of a statement.
That's a good statement. That's a good statement.
You said 9 months ago you guys would be examining it, and it takes about 3 months to study for the LSAT, so that's a pretty good examination time. You could announce it right here, right now. We're canceling the deal.
We take our...
We got it right here, wild on camera.
We take our legal responsibilities and the breaking of contracts very seriously in this country.
All right. That was awesome. I mean, he could not have done that better. The way he set it up, the way he softened him up with those easy questions first and then laid it on with the Saudi Arabia question. And Trudeau's answer, I mean, apart from his silence initially, is just complete BS. This idea, we take breaking of contracts seriously. Please. We're talking about a contract here that is directly leading to the deaths of innocent civilians. So this recent Yemen death toll from the UN says it'll surpass 230,000 by the end of 2019. And Canada is helping to aid those deaths, helping to create those deaths. Yet, we can't break a contract, even if it means helping to murder over 100,000 people. Well, we have a contract, so it's okay. It's complete bullshit. On top of the fact that also, the idea that Trudeau cares about breaking contracts, yet he has no issue with breaking ethics rules when it comes to benefiting massive corporations like SNC-Lavalin. So, yeah, Trudeau's answer here doesn't pass the smell test. Now, the next clip here is also impressive. Hasan Minhaj pushes Trudeau on the issue of climate change and Trudeau purchasing a $4.5 billion pipeline.
Now, you've stepped up as a leader on the world stage in the fight against climate change. How does the Trans Mountain Pipeline fit into that vision?
Okay. The alternative to a modern pipeline is oil by rail or oil by trucks, because our society continues to need oil right now. That's why we're putting all the profits from the Trans Mountain pipeline expansion into the transition towards cleaner energy.
Okay, this is where I'm not following you. You say you're going to fight climate change by producing more oil?
No, we're not talking about any more. We're talking about actually exporting it more efficiently, where we'll actually get a better price that will allow us to invest more in the transition.
Basically, he's saying that the pipeline will help ship oil more efficiently, which is true. But he's also saying that the pipeline will not result in Canada producing more oil, which is not true.
All right, so I'm going to stop it there, but you have to go watch the whole episode. It's actually on YouTube as well, so I'll link to the YouTube clip below this video. You can watch the whole thing if you don't have Netflix. But Hasan Minhaj goes deep into the data. I mean, the idea that what you are buying a pipeline to help fund the creation of green energy, yet in in expanding this pipeline, you are increasing oil production, which you are, as Hasan Minhaj points out in his entire segment. So, like, it's playing both sides, and it's what liberals have done for a couple decades now, pretending to cater to progressive ideas while at the same time, also catering to conservative ideas. You can't do both. When it comes to fighting climate change, when it comes to any of these issues, you have to pick an actual side. Pretending to be on both sides, ultimately, what that means is that you are actually capitulating to conservatives, because you are not actually going through with what you should be doing when it comes to fighting climate change or when it comes to human rights around the world or whatever it is. I mean, and this is just a couple of topics. He could have touched on electoral reform, just a completely broken promise that Trudeau obviously doesn't want to move through with electoral reform because he won. His party won under the current system of first past the post. So, there is endless potential critiques of Justin Trudeau, and Hasan Minhaj touched on a few of them in this entire show. You have to go watch it. But look, this is not really a critique of Patriot Act, because you can only do so much with the time you have. But there also can't just be a focus on the negative, and not in terms of Trudeau, but in terms of voting. So there's like a brief 5 seconds that Hasan spent on Jagmeet Singh and the NDP, but he could have done a little more. So it's one thing to critique the Liberal Party and say, and then at the end of his show say, well, the Conservatives are worse on all these issues, which is true. But then just to completely ignore the fact that we're in a parliamentary system and you have other options and you can support the NDP, especially depending on your riding, if you have a riding where the NDP has a potential to win the seat there. I mean, there has to be more of a focus on the alternative. That, yes, you don't have to keep voting for the lesser of two evils, especially in a parliamentary system where you have other options. You can actually support the NDP, or maybe you're a Green Party supporter. Whatever it is, there are other options out there. So it's not just about voting for the lesser of two evils. As you've seen, the lesser of two evils, yes, is the lesser of two evils, but it's still evil. And in the case of this system that we are in, you can support other parties. And there is the potential for, say, a liberal minority with a strong voice from the NDP. So you have to understand that this is not the same as the American system, where it's not, well, I got to vote for Hillary because we don't want Donald Trump. It's not like that. This can depend completely on the riding that you are in. And if you have a strong NDP going into maybe a liberal minority government, then what you have is the potential for some actual progressive, some actual left-wing views having an impact on a governing Liberal Party, which would then force the Liberals to actually maybe meet some of their promises.